The ambush erupted with the sharp crack of enemy fire, splitting the forest silence. Sergeant Marcus Chun pressed against a massive oak, breathing hard as bullets chewed bark inches from his head. 12 SEAL operators, the best of the best, pinned down by an estimated 40 hostiles positioned in a perfect kill box. Someone had leaked their route. Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez crouched behind a fallen log 15 meters to his right, her communications equipment scattered around her like broken promises. The team had brought her for tactical support, radio coordination, battlefield intelligence. Not for this. Chin caught sight of her checking her M4 carbine with practiced efficiency, and the thought crossed his mind that support personnel weren't trained for sustained firefights like this. The enemy had chosen their ground well. Rocky outcropping to the north provided elevated positions. Dense undergrowth to the south concealed movement. The SEALs found themselves in a natural corridor with nowhere to run and limited cover. Master Chief Rodriguez had already taken shrapnel to the shoulder. Petty Officer Williams was applying pressure to a leg wound that painted the forest floor dark red. Before we dive into this intense story, drop a comment and let us know what state you're watching from. Maybe you have military families in your area who have served in similar high-stakes situations. Chun keyed his radio with trembling fingers. Overwatch, this is Talon 6. We are in heavy contact. Request immediate air support. The response crackled back through static. Negative Talon 6. Weather front moved in. No air assets available for 40 minutes minimum. 40 minutes might as well have been 40 hours. The enemy fire was disciplined, coordinated, professional. These weren't insurgents with rusty AK-47s. Someone had trained these fighters well. They were advancing by fire and movement, classic infantry tactics, tightening the noose around the trapped Americans. Vasquez shifted position, sliding from log to boulder with fluid movement that caught Chin's attention. Her gear was arranged differently than the others. Extra magazines positioned for quick access. Knife strapped to her dominant hand side. Small details that suggested someone who understood close-quarters combat better than her administrative role implied. The forest around them had transformed from peaceful woodland into a nightmare landscape of splintered trees and smoking earth. Every shadow might conceal death. Every sound could herald the final assault. Chun had led these men through 3 deployments, dozens of successful missions. He had never felt this helpless. Another burst of automatic fire raked their position. Tree branches exploded overhead, raining debris on the pinned Americans. Chun counted muzzle flashes, trying to map enemy positions through the chaos. Northeast Ridge, maybe 8 shooters. Southern Treeline, at least 12 more. Western approach, voices calling in what sounded like coordinated movement commands. They were surrounded. Rodriguez crawled toward Chun, leaving a blood trail on pine needles and moss. His face had gone pale, but his eyes remained sharp. "Sir," he whispered, "we need to break contact or we're going to lose people." The enemy was closing in methodically, professionally. These fighters understood American tactics well enough to counter them effectively. Chun nodded grimly. The textbook solution required suppressing fire to cover movement, but they were outnumbered 4-1 with limited ammunition. Breaking contact meant someone would have to provide covering fire while others moved. Someone would have to stay behind and hold the line against impossible odds. That someone would probably die doing it. Vasquez appeared beside them suddenly, moving through the underbrush like smoke. Her dark eyes assessed the tactical situation with an intensity that surprised Chun. She had been listening to their radio traffic, studying the enemy positions, calculating angles and distances with the focused attention of someone solving a complex mathematical problem. "I can provide overwatch from that ridgeline," she said quietly, pointing northwest to elevated ground that overlooked their current position. "Give you covering fire while you extract south toward the rally point." Her voice carried no hesitation, no fear, just cold tactical assessment. Chun stared at her. Vasquez was communication support. Her job was radios and intelligence coordination, not combat operations. The ridge she indicated was 600 meters away, through enemy territory. Getting there alive would require moving through zones of fire that had already wounded 2 of his men. Negative, he replied automatically. You stay with the team. We'll figure out another option. But even as he said it, Chen knew there was no other option. The enemy had them trapped completely. Someone had to break the stalemate, and conventional tactics had already failed. The enemy fire intensified suddenly, rounds snapping overhead like angry hornets. Chun pressed his face into the dirt as bullets carved chunks from the boulder, protecting them. When he looked up again, Vasquez was gone. Chun cursed under his breath as he scanned the tree line where Vasquez had vanished. The woman had just committed tactical suicide, attempting to cross 600 meters of hostile territory with nothing but an M4 and determination. He had seen seasoned operators fail at easier maneuvers than what she was attempting. Petty Officer Jackson crawled up beside him, his face streaked with dirt and sweat. Where did she go, Sergeant? His voice carried the edge of panic that comes when plans fall apart and good people make desperate choices. Jackson had been in the teams for 8 years, long enough to recognize when someone was about to get themselves killed trying to be a hero. Chen shook his head grimly. She thinks she can reach that ridge and provide overwatch. The absurdity of it struck him even as he spoke. Vasquez was support personnel, trained for communications and intelligence coordination. Her combat experience consisted of qualifying annually at the firing range and completing basic tactical courses that every soldier completed. The ridge she was attempting to reach required navigating through enemy positions that had already demonstrated lethal accuracy. The enemy continued their methodical advance. Voices called out in the distance, coordinating movement with military precision. These weren't random fighters. Someone had trained them in small unit tactics, taught them to move as a cohesive force rather than individual shooters. They understood cover and concealment, fire and movement, all the fundamentals that made them dangerous opponents. Rodriguez pressed a fresh field dressing against his shoulder wound, wincing as shrapnel shifted under his skin. Sir, maybe she knows something we don't. His voice carried doubt even as he spoke. Rodriguez had worked with Vasquez on 3 previous missions. She handled communications flawlessly, coordinated intelligence effectively, never caused problems or drew attention to herself. But combat operations required different skills entirely. Chen studied the northwestern ridge through his scope, searching for any sign of movement. The slope was steep, covered with loose rock that would make noise with every step. Pine trees provided some concealment, but also limited mobility options. Any defender watching that approach would have clear fields of fire across the entire ascent. She'll never make it, Williams said quietly from his position behind a boulder. His leg wound had stopped bleeding, but left him unable to move effectively. Williams had been a sniper before transferring to the teams. He understood long-range engagements better than most. The ridge Vasquez was attempting to reach required crossing open ground that any competent marksman could cover easily. The forest had become a killing field of intersecting fire zones and concealed positions. Every tree might hide an enemy fighter. Every shadow could conceal death waiting patiently for American soldiers to make mistakes. The enemy had chosen their ambush site perfectly, channeling the SEAL team into a natural trap with limited escape routes. Chun checked his ammunition. For magazines remaining, maybe 120 rounds total. Rodriguez had 3 magazines left. Jackson and Williams were running similarly low. The enemy could afford to wait, let the Americans exhaust their ammunition, then close in for the final assault. Time was working against them with mathematical certainty. A single rifle shot echoed from the northwestern ridge, sharp and clear above the background noise of automatic weapons fire. Then silence fell across the forest like a heavy blanket. The constant chatter of enemy voices stopped abruptly. Even the insects seemed to pause, waiting to see what would happen next. Chun pressed his eye to his rifle scope, scanning the enemy positions that had been firing continuously moments before. The northeastern ridge, where at least 8 fighters had been positioned, showed no movement. No muzzle flashes. No voices calling coordinates or commands. Just empty forest where deadly accurate fire had been coming from seconds earlier. "What the hell?" Jackson whispered, his voice barely audible above the wind moving through pine branches. The sudden silence felt more ominous than the previous gunfire. At least when the enemy was shooting, you knew where they were positioned. This quiet suggested something had changed fundamentally. Another shot rang out from the ridge, followed immediately by the sound of someone screaming in pain from the southern tree-line. The scream cut off abruptly, replaced by frantic voices calling in a language Chin couldn't identify. The voices sounded confused, maybe frightened. Professional fighters didn't usually sound frightened. Rodriguez looked at Chun with raised eyebrows. "Think she actually made it to the ridge?" His question carried disbelief mixed with hope. The tactical situation had seemed hopeless minutes before. Now something was disrupting the enemy's coordinated assault. Whether that something was Vasquez or some other factor remained unclear. A third shot cracked across the forest, this one followed by the distinctive sound of automatic weapons fire returning toward the ridge. The enemy had identified the source of the incoming fire and was responding with everything they had. Tracers streaked through the trees like deadly fireflies, converging on the northwestern slope where someone was engaging them with precise single shots. Chun felt a mixture of admiration and dread. If Vasquez had actually reached that position, she was now facing the concentrated fire of 40 enemy fighters with nothing but her standard-issue carbine and whatever ammunition she was carrying. The math was simple and brutal. One person against 40 rarely ended well, regardless of training or determination. The enemy fire shifted dramatically, most of it now directed toward the ridge instead of the trapped SEAL positions. Chin realized this might be their only chance to extract, but it would mean abandoning whoever was on that ridge to face overwhelming odds alone. Military doctrine was clear about leaving people behind, but tactical reality sometimes forced impossible choices. "Get ready to move," he told his team quietly. "If someone's giving us covering fire, we need to use it." The window of opportunity would be brief. Once the enemy eliminated the threat from the ridge, they would return their attention to finishing off the trapped Americans. Another shot echoed from above, followed by more screaming from enemy positions. Chin motioned for his team to prepare for movement as another precise shot rang out from the ridge above. The enemy response was immediate and overwhelming. Dozens of weapons opening fire toward the northwestern slope where someone was systematically disrupting their assault. Whoever had reached that position was drawing incredible amounts of hostile fire, giving the trapped SEALs their first tactical advantage since the ambush began. Jackson low-crawled toward the southern tree line, his rifle ready as he tested the enemy reaction. The majority of hostile fire had shifted toward the ridge, but disciplined fighters would maintain coverage of their original targets. Moving too early could walk them into a secondary ambush designed specifically for this scenario. The sniper on the ridge fired again, and this time Chin heard the unmistakable sound of a bolt-action rifle cycling. Not the M4 carbine he had seen Vasquez carrying. Someone up there had acquired different equipment, possibly taken from enemy positions or cache supplies. The precision of each shot suggested extensive training with that particular weapon system. Rodriguez pressed his radio earpiece, listening to frequencies the enemy might be using. Nothing on the standard tactical channels, but someone was definitely coordinating the hostile response. Voices called out bearing and distance information, trying to locate the sniper who was methodically eliminating their positions. These fighters understood counter-sniper operations better than typical insurgents. The forest around them had become a complex, three-dimensional battlefield. Enemy positions on elevated ground provided commanding views of the valley floor. Dense undergrowth concealed movement, but also limited visibility and fields of fire. The northwestern ridge offered excellent overwatch capabilities, but required surviving the approach through multiple kill zones to reach it. Another shot cracked across the valley, followed immediately by shouting from the eastern positions. The enemy was losing people rapidly to someone who seemed to know exactly where they were positioned. Chun counted at least 6 precise shots so far, each one followed by screaming or frantic calls for medical assistance. Professional accuracy under extreme pressure. Williams examined his leg wound carefully, testing his mobility for potential movement. Sir, whoever's up there knows what they're doing. The shot placement, the timing, the target selection. This isn't lucky shooting. Someone with serious training is working that ridge. His assessment carried the authority of experience with long-range engagements. Chen nodded grimly. The tactical situation was improving, but remained desperate. Even if the ridge sniper eliminated half the enemy force, 20 fighters with good positions could still pin down and eventually overwhelm 5 wounded Americans with limited ammunition. They needed to extract soon or risk getting caught in a prolonged engagement they couldn't win. The enemy fire toward the ridge intensified suddenly, tracers streaming through the pine trees like deadly Christmas lights. Someone was coordinating a concentrated assault on the sniper position, probably realizing that eliminating that threat was essential to completing their original mission. 40 fighters focused on one target usually achieved their objective quickly. Jackson reached the edge of their defensive perimeter and signaled back to Chun. Limited movement possible to the south, but will be exposed crossing the creek bed. The terrain offered some concealment, but also channeled movement into predictable routes that competent defenders would cover with overlapping fields of fire. Rodriguez struggled to his feet, testing his wounded shoulder against his rifle stock. The bleeding had stopped, but left him significantly weakened. Moving 600 meters through hostile territory would be challenging for healthy operators. Doing it with wounded teammates while under fire approached impossibility. A different sound echoed from the ridge, the distinctive crack of a high-powered rifle that Shin didn't recognize. Not standard American equipment, possibly something acquired from enemy supplies or civilian hunting rifles pressed into military service. The shot was followed by absolute silence from the northeastern positions that had been firing continuously minutes before. Chun felt a chill of recognition. Professional snipers often carried specialized weapons optimized for specific mission requirements. Someone who understood long-range precision shooting might acquire whatever equipment was available rather than limiting themselves to standard-issue firearms. The sound suggested someone with extensive knowledge of ballistics and weapon systems. The tactical radio crackled to life suddenly. Talon 6, this is Overwatch. I have eyes on multiple enemy positions. Recommend immediate extract south along creek bed. I can provide covering fire for 2 minutes maximum. The voice was calm, professional, transmitted on the correct frequency with proper call signs and tactical terminology. Chin stared at his radio in disbelief. The voice was female, slightly distorted by static and distance, but unmistakably competent. Someone was coordinating their extract with military precision while engaging 40 hostile fighters from an exposed position 600 meters away. The tactical knowledge required for such coordination suggested extensive training and experience. Rodriguez looked at him with raised eyebrows. Overwatch is requesting immediate movement. Sergeant, someone up there knows our tactical situation better than we do. His voice carried grudging respect, mixed with confusion. Communications specialists weren't typically trained in Overwatch operations or close air support coordination. Jackson signaled ready from his forward position, waiting for the command to begin their dangerous crossing. Williams struggled to his feet, testing his wounded leg against his full combat load. The extract would require moving fast across open ground, while someone on the ridge drew enemy fire. Standard operating procedure, except nothing about this situation was standard. The mysterious sniper fired twice in rapid succession, both shots followed by screaming from different enemy positions. Someone was working methodically through hostile fighters with surgical precision, eliminating threats in order of priority rather than targets of opportunity. Professional target selection required understanding tactical situations from multiple perspectives simultaneously. Chun keyed his radio with trembling fingers. Overwatch, this is Talon 6. We're ready to move on your signal. His voice betrayed the confusion he felt about their tactical situation. Someone was providing professional military support while engaging overwhelming enemy forces from an impossible position. Nothing in his experience had prepared him for this scenario. The response came immediately. Roger, Talon 6. Moving in 30 seconds. Watch for my tracer rounds indicating safe corridors. Stay low and move fast. The voice carried absolute confidence despite the tactical impossibility of the situation. Someone was about to attempt coordinating a complex extract while simultaneously engaging multiple enemy positions. The tracer rounds streaked overhead like burning arrows, marking safe corridors through the enemy positions with mathematical precision. Chun watched the illuminated paths carve through the forest and felt his tactical understanding shift completely. Someone on that ridge possessed intimate knowledge of their exact location, enemy positions, terrain features, and optimal extraction routes. This wasn't luck or desperation. This was professional military coordination at the highest level. Jackson sprinted across the first open area, following the tracer guidance exactly. His movement drew immediate hostile fire, but the rounds fell short as sniper fire from the ridge eliminated the shooters with surgical accuracy. 2 shots, 2 screams, silence from positions that had been pouring fire moments before. The coordination was flawless, deadly, executed with timing that suggested extensive training. Rodriguez struggled to keep pace despite his shoulder wound, blood seeping through the field dressing with each jarring step. Williams limped heavily on his injured leg, but maintained formation discipline, rifle ready as they bounded from cover to cover. The extract was working, but only because someone above was systematically destroying every enemy position that threatened their movement. Chun followed the final tracer path toward the creek bed, his mind racing with tactical questions that defied easy answers. The sniper providing overwatch demonstrated capabilities that exceeded most military specialists he had worked with. Shot placement was perfect, timing was flawless, target selection showed deep understanding of small unit tactics and enemy response patterns. The radio crackled again as they reached the creek bed. Talon 6, you have enemy movement converging on your position from the northeast. I can suppress them, but you need to move faster. The voice remained calm despite describing a tactical situation that would challenge any military unit. Someone was tracking multiple enemy elements while engaging targets at extended range under extreme pressure. Chun keyed his radio while scanning the tree line ahead. Overwatch, what's your ammunition status? The question carried implications they all understood. Even the best sniper couldn't maintain this level of suppression indefinitely. Eventually, ammunition would run low, enemy fire would find its mark, or overwhelming numbers would close the distance. Physics and mathematics didn't care about skill or determination. The response came without hesitation. Sufficient for current operations. Continue movement south. The professional brevity reminded Chun of seasoned operators who communicated essential information without wasting time on unnecessary details. Someone up there understood military radio protocols and tactical communication standards perfectly. Jackson reached the creek bed first and immediately took a defensive position covering their approach. The water was shallow, but the banks provided excellent concealment from most enemy positions. Moving along the creek would offer protection while maintaining mobility toward the extraction point, where air support could eventually reach them. Another precise shot echoed from the ridge, followed by frantic shouting from enemy positions to the north. The hostile forces were clearly struggling to deal with accurate long-range fire that eliminated their fighters methodically. Their voices carried frustration and growing fear, emotions that professional soldiers rarely displayed during coordinated assaults. Rodriguez slid into the creek bed beside Jackson. His breathing labored from blood loss and exertion. Sir, whoever's up there is buying us time we didn't have. But this can't last forever. His assessment was tactically sound. Even superior marksmanship couldn't overcome overwhelming numbers indefinitely. They needed to reach the extraction zone before the enemy adapted or the ridge position became untenable. Williams joined them in the creek, his wounded leg leaving him visibly exhausted. The sniper's providing professional-level support, but something doesn't add up. That level of coordination requires training and experience most support personnel don't receive. His observation carried the weight of someone who understood long-range engagements intimately. Chun felt the same confusion. Military communications specialists received basic combat training but weren't typically qualified on precision rifle systems or advanced overwatch operations. The tactical knowledge being demonstrated from that ridge suggested someone with extensive, specialized training in areas that fell outside normal support roles. The enemy fire toward their former position intensified dramatically, dozens of weapons pouring rounds into empty forest where they had been trapped minutes before. The hostile forces were either unaware of their movement or unable to track their new positions effectively. Either situation provided tactical advantages they desperately needed. Another shot cracked across the valley, this one followed by the sound of automatic weapons fire ceasing abruptly. The sniper was systematically eliminating crew-served weapons that posed the greatest threat to their extract. Target prioritization at this level required understanding weapon systems, tactical employment, and battlefield effects that came from advanced military education. Jackson signaled enemy movement to the northeast, multiple figures moving through the trees toward their last known position. The hostile forces were attempting to close the distance, probably realizing that their fixed positions were being eliminated by accurate long-range fire. Standard tactical response to sniper threats involved aggressive movement to minimize exposure time. The radio came alive with urgent transmission. Talon 6, enemy squad, moving to flank your position from the east. Recommend immediate displacement 200 meters south along creek bed. I'll engage them, but you need to move now. The tactical awareness being demonstrated exceeded anything Chin expected from support personnel. Chin acknowledged and signaled his team to continue movement. The creek bed wound through dense forest that provided excellent concealment, but also limited visibility and fields of fire. They were dependent on the ridge sniper to track enemy movement and provide early warning of threats they couldn't see coming. Rodriguez stumbled slightly, his wounded shoulder affecting his balance on the uneven creek bottom. Williams steadied him with his good arm, both wounded operators pushing through pain and exhaustion that would have stopped most people. The extract was working, but demanding everything they had physically and mentally. 3 rapid shots echoed from above, each followed by screaming or shouting from the eastern approaches. Someone was engaging multiple targets with precision that bordered on the impossible. The tactical situation required tracking numerous enemy elements simultaneously while maintaining accuracy under extreme pressure and limited ammunition. Chun felt a growing sense of disbelief about their tactical situation. Professional military snipers with years of specialized training might achieve this level of performance under optimal conditions. But they were witnessing capabilities that exceeded normal expectations, delivered by someone whose identity remained completely unknown. The forest around them gradually began to quiet as enemy fire decreased significantly. Either the hostile forces were withdrawing or the ridge sniper had eliminated enough of them to break their coordinated assault. Both possibilities offered hope, but Chin knew their tactical situation remained precarious until they reached friendly forces. Jackson reached a bend in the creek that offered good observation of their back trail. No immediate pursuit visible, but that could change quickly if enemy forces regrouped and began systematic tracking. Professional fighters would adapt to the sniper threat and modify their tactics accordingly, possibly making their extract much more difficult. The radio transmitted one more time. Talon 6, you're clear for the next 400 meters. Maintain current heading toward Rally Point Alpha. I'll continue Overwatch until you reach friendly lines. The voice carried satisfaction, mixed with professional focus. Someone completing a difficult mission successfully despite overwhelming odds. The forest had become eerily quiet as Chin's team moved south along the creek bed, their boots splashing softly through shallow water over smooth stones. The constant background noise of hostile fire had diminished to occasional distant shots, suggesting either tactical withdrawal or successful suppression by their mysterious overwatch. Neither Chun nor his teammates spoke above whispers, unwilling to compromise the advantage they had gained through someone else's extraordinary sacrifice. Rodriguez paused to check his shoulder wound, the field dressing now completely soaked with blood but still maintaining pressure on the shrapnel damage. His face had gone pale, but his eyes remained alert, scanning the treeline for threats that could appear without warning. 8 years in special operations had taught him that tactical situations could change instantly, transforming apparent success into deadly ambush. Williams tested his injured leg against a fallen log, grimacing as weight shifted onto damaged muscle and bone. The limp was becoming more pronounced with each step, but he maintained his position in their small formation without complaint. Professional soldiers understood that personal discomfort meant nothing compared to mission success and teammate survival. Jackson moved point with his rifle ready, eyes constantly sweeping between the creek ahead and the forest on both sides. The terrain provided excellent concealment from most observation points, but also created numerous locations where enemy forces could establish hasty ambushes. Every bend in the waterway represented potential danger that required careful investigation before movement. Chun keyed his radio quietly, maintaining communication with their lifeline on the northwestern ridge. Overwatch Talon 6. Request situation report on enemy activity. The response came immediately, calm and professional despite the tactical complexity of monitoring multiple threat vectors simultaneously while engaging targets at extended range. Talon 6, I count at least 15 enemy Kia, unknown number wounded. Remaining forces appear to be withdrawing northeast toward their initial staging area. No immediate threat to your current position, but maintain noise, discipline, and movement security. Someone up, there was tracking battlefield casualties with precision that suggested either direct observation or sophisticated intelligence gathering capabilities. The tactical assessment exceeded anything Chin expected from support personnel. Accurate enemy casualty counts required visual confirmation or reliable intelligence sources that communication specialists typically didn't possess. The level of battlefield awareness being demonstrated suggested someone with extensive combat experience and advanced training in reconnaissance operations. Rodriguez caught Chin's attention and pointed toward the eastern bank of the creek, where fresh footprints in mud indicated recent enemy movement toward their previous position. The tracks showed boots consistent with military equipment, probably part of the flanking maneuver the Overwatch had warned them about. Professional tracking skills were identifying threat patterns they might have missed otherwise. The prints were deep, indicating heavy loads and rapid movement through difficult terrain. Enemy forces had been moving aggressively to close distance and eliminate the trapped Americans before the Ridge sniper disrupted their assault. The tactical timing had been critical, with their rescue arriving moments before the situation became completely untenable. Williams studied the boot prints with professional interest. Size 10 or 11 boots, probably American military issue acquired through black market sources or previous engagements. These fighters have access to quality equipment and understand how to use it effectively. His assessment carried the authority of someone who had spent years analyzing enemy capabilities and tactics. Another precise shot echoed across the valley, followed by shouting from positions they couldn't see. The Ridge sniper was still engaging targets, probably covering their extract by eliminating any enemy forces attempting to pursue or establish blocking positions along their route. The tactical coordination required intimate knowledge of their planned movement and potential enemy responses. Chun felt growing admiration mixed with profound confusion about their tactical situation. Someone was providing military support that exceeded the capabilities of most specialized units he had worked with. The combination of marksmanship, tactical awareness, communication skills, and battlefield coordination suggested training and experience at the highest levels of military operations. Jackson signaled a halt and pointed toward movement in the forest ahead, multiple figures crossing their line of advance approximately 200 meters south. The figures moved with discipline and purpose, possibly enemy forces attempting to establish blocking positions or friendly units responding to their extract request. Identification at this distance remained impossible. The radio crackled with urgent transmission. Talon 6, you have friendly forces moving toward your position from south. 2 squads, approximately 16 personnel. Recommend you signal your location to avoid blue-on-blue engagement. The tactical warning demonstrated awareness of multiple friendly and hostile units operating in the same area simultaneously. Chun acknowledged and prepared signal flares to identify their position to approaching friendly forces. The coordination required to track multiple units while maintaining accurate long-range fire bordered on the impossible. Someone up there possessed capabilities that defied normal military classifications and training standards. Rodriguez struggled to maintain pace as blood loss affected his strength and coordination. Sir, we need to reach friendly lines soon. I'm losing too much blood to maintain effectiveness much longer. His honest assessment reflected the physical reality that wounded operators could only function at peak levels for limited periods before requiring medical intervention. Williams nodded agreement, his injured leg forcing him to use his rifle as an improvised walking stick. The adrenaline that had sustained them through the initial crisis was wearing off, leaving behind pain and exhaustion that would soon affect their combat effectiveness. They needed professional medical treatment and secure positions. The approaching friendly forces signaled their presence with proper authentication codes transmitted on encrypted frequencies. 2 squads of Marines responding to their distress call, equipped with medical supplies and extraction capabilities. The relief Chun felt was overwhelming, knowing that professional help was finally within reach. Another shot from the ridge confirmed that their overwatch remained active and engaged, still providing security despite having accomplished the primary mission of enabling their extract. Professional dedication at this level suggested someone committed to ensuring mission success regardless of personal risk or discomfort. Jackson made contact with the Marine Patrol leader, exchanging authentication codes and tactical situation updates. The Marines had been monitoring their radio traffic and understood the basic circumstances of their rescue. However, they expressed confusion about the identity and capabilities of their Overwatch support. The Marine sergeant approached Chun with professional curiosity mixed with tactical concern. Sir, we've been tracking your radio traffic with someone providing Overwatch from the northwestern ridge. Our intelligence doesn't show any friendly sniper teams operating in this area. Can you confirm the identity of your support element? The question highlighted the mystery that had been troubling Chun throughout their extract. Chun realized he had no answer that made tactical sense. Someone with extraordinary capabilities had saved their lives, but their identity remained completely unknown. The radio call sign suggested official military communication, but the tactical skills exceeded normal expectations for any single operator regardless of training or experience. The Marines established a defensive perimeter while their medic began treating Rodriguez and Williams. Professional medical care stabilized their conditions quickly, but both men would require evacuation to surgical facilities for definitive treatment. The immediate crisis was over, but questions about their mysterious savior remained unanswered. The ridge fell silent as distance increased between them and their Overwatch position. Whoever had provided such extraordinary support was either moving to extraction or maintaining position for other tactical reasons. Chun felt gratitude mixed with professional curiosity about meeting the person who had demonstrated such remarkable capabilities under impossible conditions. The Marine medic worked efficiently on Rodriguez's shoulder wound, applying fresh bandages and administering 4 fluids to combat blood loss. His professional assessment confirmed what Chun already suspected. Both wounded operators required immediate evacuation to surgical facilities beyond what field medicine could provide. The tactical situation had stabilized, but medical priorities now demanded urgent attention. Sergeant First Class Martinez, The Marine Patrol leader studied tactical maps while coordinating helicopter extraction for the wounded. "Sir, we have birds inbound for casualty evacuation, but Command is asking questions about your Overwatch support. No friendly sniper teams were supposed to be operating in this sector today." His statement carried implications that troubled Chen deeply. Chen stared at the northwestern ridge through binoculars, searching for any sign of movement or activity. The position appeared abandoned now, whoever had provided such extraordinary support having vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared. The tactical mystery was becoming an administrative nightmare that would require extensive after-action reports and explanations he couldn't provide. Williams accepted pain medication from the medic, but remained alert enough to participate in tactical discussions. "Sergeant, that Overwatch saved our lives with capabilities I've never seen before. Precision shooting, tactical coordination, battlefield awareness, communication skills. Someone with training that goes way beyond normal military standards." His professional assessment carried weight with everyone who had witnessed the rescue. Jackson cleaned his rifle while maintaining security, his eyes constantly scanning the forest for threats that might still exist. The enemy forces had withdrawn, but professional soldiers understood that tactical situations could change without warning. Vigilance remained essential until they reached secure positions with adequate defensive capabilities. The radio crackled with transmission from helicopter pilots approaching their position. "Talon 6, this is Dustoff 7-3. We have you in sight and are establishing landing zone procedures. Request tactical situation update and casualty information." The familiar sound of rotor blades grew louder as medical evacuation drew near. Martinez coordinated landing zone security, while his Marines established defensive positions around the small clearing where helicopters could safely approach. The tactical procedures were routine, executed with professional competence that Chun found reassuring after hours of desperate improvisation and mystery. Chun keyed his radio one final time, attempting to contact their mysterious benefactor. "Overwatch, this is Talon 6. Request status report and extraction coordination." The transmission went unanswered, silence replacing the calm professional voice that had guided their survival through impossible odds. Whoever had saved them was either gone or maintaining radio silence for operational reasons. The helicopter touched down with mechanical precision, crew chief and medic immediately moving to load Rodriguez and Williams for transport to definitive medical care. Their evacuation represented success, measured in lives saved rather than tactical objectives achieved. Chun felt relief mixed with professional obligation to understand what had actually happened. Rodriguez gripped Chen's arm as medics lifted him onto the helicopter stretcher. "Sergeant, find out who saved us today. Someone with those capabilities deserves recognition, not mystery." His request reflected the gratitude they all felt towards someone whose identity remained completely unknown despite their extraordinary sacrifice and skill. Williams nodded agreement from his stretcher, his injured leg properly splinted and stabilized for transport. Whoever was on that ridge demonstrated capabilities that exceed most military specialists. The tactical coordination, marksmanship, communication skills. Someone trained at levels we don't usually see in standard operations. The helicopter lifted off with both wounded operators, rotors churning the forest air as it climbed toward medical facilities where surgical teams waited to treat their injuries. Chen watched until it disappeared above the tree line, carrying teammates whose survival depended on someone's remarkable intervention. Martinez approached with tactical updates from his command element. "Sir, we're ordered to investigate the Overwatch position before withdrawing. Command wants confirmation of friendly forces and assessment of tactical capabilities that were demonstrated today." The mission was expanding beyond simple rescue to include intelligence gathering about their mysterious savior. Chun organized his remaining team members for movement toward the northwestern ridge where their Overwatch had operated with such devastating effectiveness. The climb would be difficult, but professional obligation demanded they attempt to identify and thank whoever had saved their lives through extraordinary skill and courage. Jackson took point as they began ascending the steep slope toward the ridge position, his rifle ready despite the apparent absence of hostile forces in the area. The terrain was exactly as challenging as Chun had imagined, loose rock and dense vegetation that would make noise with every step during any approach under fire. The first evidence of their overwatch appeared 50 meters below the ridge crest, empty brass casings scattered among pine needles and granite outcroppings. Martinez examined the cases with professional interest, noting caliber and manufacturer information that might provide clues about equipment and capabilities. 38 cases, all from the same weapon system, Martinez reported. Precision rifle ammunition, match-grade quality. Someone fired 38 shots with accuracy that eliminated multiple targets at extended range. The physical evidence confirmed their tactical observations about remarkable marksmanship under extreme pressure. Chin climbed higher, following a faint trail through undergrowth that showed signs of recent passage. Broken branches and disturbed earth indicated someone had moved through this area recently, probably during their extract when enemy attention focused elsewhere. The trail led directly toward the ridge position where their salvation had originated. Jackson reached the crest first and signaled for the others to join him at what had obviously been a prepared fighting position. Someone had selected terrain that provided excellent observation and fields of fire, while offering concealment and multiple escape routes. Professional site selection that demonstrated advanced tactical knowledge. Martinez studied the position with growing amazement. "Sir, this shows evidence of expert fieldcraft. Natural camouflage, range cards to multiple targets, ammunition organized for rapid access. Someone set up a textbook sniper position under combat conditions while we were pinned down below." His assessment reflected professional respect for capabilities that exceeded normal expectations. Chin examined equipment left behind, finding nothing that identified their mysterious benefactor. A few energy bar wrappers, empty water bottles, and disturbed earth where someone had lain prone for extended periods while engaging multiple targets. The position had been thoroughly cleaned of anything that might reveal identity or unit affiliation. Jackson discovered something that made them all pause, a small notebook wedged between two rocks with pages of handwritten range calculations and target priorities. The tactical notes demonstrated intimate knowledge of their situation, enemy positions, and optimal engagement sequences. Someone had been planning this rescue with mathematical precision. The handwriting was neat, precise, definitely female based on certain letter formations and stylistic elements that Chen recognized from years of reviewing military documents and reports. The tactical knowledge demonstrated in the notes exceeded anything he expected from support personnel, regardless of training or experience levels. Martinez photographed the notebook pages for intelligence analysis, but Chen felt growing certainty that they were dealing with someone whose capabilities defied standard military classifications. The combination of marksmanship, tactical planning, communication skills, and battlefield coordination suggested training at levels that few people ever achieved. Chen studied the handwritten range calculations more carefully, noting the precision of ballistic computations that accounted for wind speed, temperature, humidity, and elevation changes across multiple target zones. The mathematical accuracy suggested someone with extensive training in long-range precision shooting, far beyond what communication specialists typically receive during their military education. Martinez examined the prepared fighting position with growing professional admiration. "Sir, whoever set this up understood advanced fieldcraft better than most infantry soldiers I've worked with. Natural camouflage integrated with the terrain, multiple escape routes planned, ammunition positioned for rapid access under stress. This wasn't improvised. Someone planned this rescue systematically." Jackson discovered more evidence of professional preparation, including a detailed sketch of the valley floor with enemy positions marked according to observed movement patterns and tactical deployment. The tactical intelligence demonstrated in the drawings exceeded anything that could be gathered from their trapped position below. Someone had conducted reconnaissance that required advanced observation skills. The sketch showed intimate knowledge of their exact location, enemy strength estimates, and optimal engagement sequences that would maximize tactical advantage while minimizing ammunition expenditure. The planning demonstrated understanding of small unit tactics, enemy capabilities, and battlefield coordination that suggested extensive military training and combat experience. Chun felt pieces of a tactical puzzle clicking into place as he examined the evidence left behind. The handwriting, the tactical knowledge, the precision shooting, the professional communication skills. Someone with extraordinary capabilities had risked everything to save them, but their identity remained frustratingly elusive despite growing circumstantial evidence. Martinez coordinated with his command element, while Chen's team continued investigating the sniper position. Sir, Headquarters wants detailed reports on all evidence recovered from this site. The capabilities demonstrated today exceed normal military standards, and intelligence analysts want to understand what happened. The tactical mystery was becoming an official investigation. Jackson found something that made everyone pause. A small piece of fabric caught on a tree branch that matched the color and pattern of standard military uniforms worn by support personnel. The fabric sample was small, but distinctive enough to suggest their Overwatch had been wearing equipment consistent with administrative rather than combat specialties. Chen examined the fabric fragment with growing certainty about their mysterious savior's identity. The evidence was circumstantial, but increasingly compelling when combined with tactical observations and timeline analysis. Someone from their own unit possessed capabilities that none of them had suspected despite working together for months. The radio crackled with transmission from their base operations center. Talon 6, this is base. Request immediate personnel accountability report. We show one member of your team unaccounted for following your extract. Please confirm status of all assigned personnel. The message carried implications that troubled Chen deeply. Chen realized with sudden clarity that they had been so focused on their tactical situation that nobody had confirmed Vasquez's status since she disappeared during the initial ambush. The timeline was becoming clear, her departure coinciding exactly with the appearance of their professional Overwatch support. The tactical mystery was resolving into recognition and disbelief. Martinez approached with more questions from his command structure. Sergeant, Headquarters is asking specific questions about Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez. She was listed as part of your team, but hasn't been accounted for since the initial contact. Do you have information about her current location or status? The official inquiry was forcing Chun to confront conclusions he had been avoiding. Jackson lowered his rifle and stared at Chun with dawning understanding. Sergeant, you don't think Vasquez could have made it to this position and provided the Overwatch we received? She's communication support, not a sniper specialist. Her training doesn't include the capabilities we witnessed today. His statement reflected the skepticism they had all felt about support personnel engaging in direct combat operations. Chun keyed his radio, attempting to contact Vasquez directly on frequencies she would monitor as their communications specialist. Vasquez, this is Chun. Request immediate status report and location confirmation. The transmission went unanswered, but Chen knew with growing certainty where she was and what she had accomplished despite everyone's assumptions about her capabilities. The evidence was overwhelming when analyzed objectively. Female handwriting and tactical notes that demonstrated extraordinary knowledge. Fabric from support personnel uniforms. Timeline that matched her disappearance with the appearance of their Overwatch. Someone with capabilities that exceeded all expectations had risked everything to save them. Martinez examined his tactical map while coordinating search procedures with his Marines. Sir, if Staff Sergeant Vasquez reached this position and provided the Overwatch support you received, she demonstrated capabilities that would qualify her for advanced sniper schools and special operations assignments. The tactical coordination we've documented exceeds normal standards. Chun felt admiration mixed with professional confusion about how someone could possess such extraordinary capabilities without anyone knowing about their training or background. Military records typically documented specialized schools and qualifications that would explain the skills they had witnessed. Vasquez's personnel file showed nothing that suggested sniper training or combat specialties. Jackson continued searching the area for additional evidence while maintaining security, his professional skepticism gradually giving way to recognition that the impossible might actually be true. Sir, if she really made this climb under fire and set up this position while we were pinned down, then everything we assumed about her capabilities was wrong. The tactical radio transmitted an urgent message that confirmed their growing conclusions. All stations, this is base. Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez has been located and is requesting extraction from grid coordinates that correspond to the northwestern ridge position. She reports successful completion of Overwatch mission and requests medical evaluation for minor injuries sustained during operations. Chun felt relief flood through him as the mystery resolved into recognition and gratitude. Vasquez had not only survived the impossible mission she had attempted, but succeeded beyond anyone's expectations while demonstrating capabilities that would reshape how they viewed her professional qualifications and military potential. Martinez coordinated helicopter extraction for Vasquez while his Marines established security around the landing zone. The tactical situation was finally resolving, but Chin knew that after-action reports would struggle to explain how someone could possess such extraordinary capabilities without previous documentation or recognition. The helicopter approached from the south, rotors beating against mountain air as pilots navigated toward the ridge position where an extraordinary rescue had been conducted by someone whose capabilities had exceeded all expectations. Chun prepared to meet a teammate he realized he had never truly known despite months of working together. The tactical lessons from this engagement would influence how they evaluated personnel capabilities and training requirements for months to come. Someone had demonstrated that assumptions about military specialties and individual capabilities could be completely wrong when tested under extreme conditions. The helicopter settled onto the ridge with mechanical precision, crew chief immediately moving to coordinate the extraction of their mysterious Overwatch. Chun approached the aircraft with anticipation mixed with professional curiosity about finally meeting the person whose extraordinary capabilities had saved their lives through impossible odds and remarkable skill under extreme pressure. Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez emerged from the tree line carrying a rifle that Chin didn't recognize, her uniform torn and dirty from hours of movement through hostile territory. Her dark eyes met his with calm professionalism that showed no trace of the stress or exhaustion that should have accompanied such an extraordinary tactical performance. Chin stared at her in disbelief, his tactical understanding completely overturned by the recognition that someone he had worked with for months possessed capabilities that exceeded most specialized military units. Vasquez, you provided the Overwatch support that saved our lives. How is that possible? Your training records don't show sniper qualifications or combat specialties. Vasquez shouldered the unfamiliar rifle with practiced ease, her movement suggesting extensive training with precision weapons that nobody knew she possessed. Sergeant, my personnel file doesn't document everything about my military background. Some training occurs outside normal channels for operational security reasons. Her explanation raised more questions than it answered. Martinez approached with professional respect, mixed with curiosity about capabilities that had exceeded all tactical expectations. Ma'am, the marksmanship and coordination you demonstrated today qualify for recognition at the highest levels. 38 confirmed eliminations at extended range, while coordinating complex extract operations under extreme pressure. That's extraordinary by any military standard. Jackson studied Vasquez with new appreciation for someone whose abilities had been completely hidden despite months of working together on multiple deployments. Ma'am, we assumed you were communication support without combat capabilities. Everything we witnessed today contradicts those assumptions completely. The tactical knowledge you demonstrated exceeds most infantry specialists. Vasquez checked the rifle's safety while maintaining professional demeanor that revealed nothing about her background or training sources. My primary military occupation specialty is communications and intelligence coordination. However, military personnel often receive additional training that doesn't appear in standard documentation. Operational security requirements sometimes mandate discretion about certain capabilities. The crew chief signaled for boarding as helicopter fuel consumption demanded immediate departure. Chun helped Vasquez secure her equipment while struggling to process the tactical revolution that was reshaping his understanding of personnel capabilities and individual potential. Someone he had categorized as support staff had demonstrated skills that would qualify for the most elite military units. Chin noticed details about Vasquez's equipment and movement that he had overlooked during previous operations. Her gear was arranged for rapid access under stress. Her physical conditioning exceeded what administrative roles typically required. Her situational awareness and tactical communication had always been exceptional, but he had attributed those qualities to professional competence rather than combat training. Martinez coordinated with the helicopter pilots while documenting evidence from the sniper position for intelligence analysis. The tactical capabilities demonstrated today will require detailed after-action reports and possible personnel reassessments. Someone with those skills could contribute significantly to specialized operations if properly utilized and recognized. Vasquez settled into the helicopter seat with practiced efficiency, her demeanor remaining calm and professional despite having spent hours engaging overwhelming enemy forces from an exposed position. The stress of such operations typically affected even experienced combat veterans, but she showed no signs of psychological or emotional strain. Jackson secured the rifle Vasquez had been carrying, noting its configuration and modifications that suggested someone with intimate knowledge of precision shooting requirements. "Ma'am, this weapon system isn't standard military issue. Where did you acquire it and learn to use it so effectively?" His question reflected growing curiosity about her hidden background. Vasquez accepted water from the crew chief while maintaining operational security about her training and capabilities. The weapon belonged to enemy forces eliminated during the engagement. Military personnel learn to adapt available equipment to mission requirements when standard issue proves inadequate. Her explanation was tactically sound, but revealed nothing about her expertise. Chun studied Vasquez during the flight back to their base, searching for clues about how someone could develop such extraordinary capabilities without documentation or recognition in their military records. The combination of marksmanship, tactical planning, communication skills, and battlefield coordination represented training that required years of specialized instruction. The helicopter approached their base operations center, where debriefing teams waited to document the tactical engagement and assess the capabilities that had been demonstrated during the rescue operation. Chun knew that Vasquez would face extensive questioning about her background and training sources that enabled such remarkable performance. Martinez prepared his preliminary report while coordinating with base intelligence officers who wanted detailed analysis of the tactical situation and individual capabilities that had exceeded all expectations. The engagement represented a case study in personnel assessment and the potential for military specialties to provide capabilities beyond their documented qualifications. Vasquez remained professionally quiet during the flight, her eyes scanning the terrain below with tactical awareness that Chun now recognized as evidence of advanced training rather than simple situational consciousness. Every aspect of her behavior suggested someone with extensive military experience in areas that had never been officially acknowledged. The base came into view as Chin contemplated the tactical lessons from their engagement and the recognition that assumptions about individual capabilities could be completely wrong when tested under extreme conditions. Someone had demonstrated skills that would reshape personnel evaluations and training assessments throughout their unit. Chun felt gratitude, mixed with professional curiosity about how the military could better identify and utilize hidden capabilities that clearly existed within their personnel structure. Vasquez had saved their lives while revealing potential that had been overlooked despite months of working together on demanding operations. The helicopter touched down at their base operations center, where medical teams waited to evaluate Vasquez for injuries sustained during her extraordinary mission. Chun prepared to participate in debriefing sessions that would struggle to explain capabilities that defied normal military classifications and training documentation. Vasquez gathered her equipment while maintaining the professional demeanor that had characterized her performance throughout their deployment. Chun realized that someone he thought he knew completely had demonstrated abilities that would influence tactical planning and personnel assignments for months to come. The tactical engagement was ending, but Chun knew that questions about hidden capabilities and individual potential would continue long after their formal debriefing sessions concluded. Someone had proven that military personnel might possess extraordinary abilities that remained unrecognized until tested under the most demanding conditions possible. The debriefing room at Base Operations Center buzzed with activity as intelligence officers prepared to document the most extraordinary tactical engagement their unit had experienced in months. Chun sat across from Vasquez while senior officers reviewed preliminary reports that described capabilities exceeding normal military standards by significant margins. Colonel Harrison entered the room carrying classified personnel files that Chun had never seen before, his expression mixing professional curiosity with administrative concern about documentation gaps that had nearly resulted in catastrophic misassignment of critical capabilities. "Ma'am, your actions today saved American lives through skills that aren't reflected in your standard military records." Vasquez maintained her professional composure while facing questions about training and background that she had successfully concealed throughout their deployment. "Sir, some military training occurs through programs that maintain operational security by limiting documentation in standard personnel files. Certain capabilities remain classified for strategic reasons." Chun studied Vasquez with growing respect for someone whose hidden abilities had transformed their tactical situation from hopeless to successful through extraordinary individual performance. The marksmanship demonstration alone would qualify for military decoration, but the combination of skills she had displayed exceeded single specialty recognition. Major Stevens, the intelligence officer, opened files that contained information Chun realized must explain Vasquez's remarkable capabilities. "Staff Sergeant, your personnel records show completion of advanced military schools that aren't typically documented in standard assignment folders. Can you elaborate on training that enabled today's performance?" Vasquez glanced at the classified documents with recognition, but maintained operational security protocols that prevented detailed discussion of sensitive training programs. "Sir, I completed specialized instruction through programs designed to develop capabilities that support conventional operations while maintaining cover through standard military occupation specialty assignments." Jackson entered the debriefing room carrying equipment recovered from the ridge position, including the precision rifle Vasquez had used with such devastating effectiveness. "Ma'am, this weapon shows modifications consistent with advanced sniper systems, and your employment of it suggests training that goes way beyond normal military instruction." Chun felt pieces of a complex puzzle finally coming together as he recognized that Vasquez's assignment to their communications role had been deliberate cover for someone with extraordinary capabilities who could provide specialized support when conventional operations required enhancement beyond normal unit capabilities. Colonel Harrison reviewed classified documents that apparently contained Vasquez's complete military background, including training that explained her remarkable performance. "Staff Sergeant, your actual qualifications include completion of military schools that would normally result in assignment to specialized units rather than conventional support roles." Vasquez nodded acknowledgement while maintaining discretion about specific programs that had developed her capabilities. "Sir, certain military personnel receive training that supports conventional operations through enhanced individual capabilities while maintaining operational security by avoiding documentation that would compromise cover assignments." Major Stevens studied tactical reports from the engagement while comparing them to classified capability assessments that apparently documented Vasquez's true potential. The marksmanship scores, tactical planning, communication coordination, and battlefield management you demonstrated today are consistent with advanced military specialties that require years of specialized instruction. Chen realized that their unit had unknowingly operated with support from someone whose actual capabilities far exceeded their assigned role, providing security and backup that none of them had recognized despite months of working together on increasingly dangerous missions throughout their deployment. Martinez entered carrying after-action reports from his Marines who had witnessed the extraction, coordination, and tactical capabilities that had impressed professional infantry soldiers. "Ma'am, my troops want to express their appreciation for Overwatch support that exceeded anything they've experienced during multiple combat deployments." Vasquez accepted the recognition while maintaining the professional humility that had characterized her behavior throughout their assignment together. The mission succeeded because everyone performed their roles effectively under difficult conditions. Individual contributions were part of coordinated team effort rather than exceptional personal performance. Colonel Harrison closed the classified files after apparently confirming information that explained Vasquez's extraordinary demonstration. "Staff Sergeant, your background includes qualification in advanced military specialties that this unit wasn't informed about for operational security reasons. Today's performance revealed capabilities we didn't know were available." Chun felt admiration mixed with professional curiosity about how many other personnel might possess hidden capabilities that could enhance unit effectiveness if properly identified and utilized. Military assignment systems apparently included security protocols that concealed individual potential for strategic reasons. Jackson examined tactical notes recovered from the sniper position while shaking his head in amazement at planning and coordination that had saved their lives through impossible precision and timing. "Ma'am, the range calculations and target priorities you developed show knowledge that would qualify for instructor positions at advanced military schools." Vasquez gathered her equipment while preparing to return to duties that Chen now realized represented significant underutilization of extraordinary capabilities. The tactical engagement had revealed potential that would influence personnel assessments and assignment decisions throughout their command structure. Major Stevens coordinated with higher headquarters about recognition and potential reassignment that would better utilize capabilities that had been demonstrated under the most demanding conditions possible. Today's performance suggests talents that could contribute significantly to specialized operations if properly employed and supported. Chun approached Vasquez as the formal debriefing concluded, his respect for her enhanced by recognition of sacrifice and skill that had saved American lives through personal courage and professional competence. "Elena, you risked everything to save us today. Your capabilities exceeded anything we knew existed within our unit structure." Vasquez shouldered her equipment with practiced efficiency while maintaining the professional demeanor that had characterized her service throughout their deployment. The mission succeeded because team members supported each other when conditions became difficult. That's what professional soldiers do regardless of their individual specialties or backgrounds. The debriefing session ended with recommendations for formal recognition and possible reassignment that would better utilize extraordinary capabilities that had been revealed through combat performance exceeding all expectations. Chen knew that their tactical relationship would never be the same following such a dramatic demonstration of hidden potential. Vasquez departed from medical evaluation and equipment maintenance, while Chen contemplated the lessons about individual capabilities and team dynamics that would influence his leadership approach for years to come. Someone he thought he knew had demonstrated abilities that proved assumptions about personnel potential could be completely wrong when tested under extreme pressure. 3 hours after the debriefing, Chen found himself in Colonel Harrison's office reviewing classified personnel files that completely redefined his understanding of Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez and her actual military background. The documents revealed training and qualifications that explained her extraordinary performance, while raising questions about why such capabilities had been concealed. Colonel Harrison spread the files across his desk with careful precision, each document marked with security classifications that Chun had rarely encountered during his military career. Sergeant, what I'm about to show you explains today's events, but remains classified at levels requiring absolute discretion. This information cannot be discussed outside secure facilities. Chun studied the first document with growing amazement as Vasquez's true military history emerged from years of careful operational security. Advanced Sniper School, honor graduate with record scores. Special Operations Training, completed with distinction. Intelligence Specialist Certification with emphasis on deep cover operations. The list continued across multiple pages. The training timeline revealed someone who had spent years developing capabilities that far exceeded normal military specialties before being assigned to their unit undercover as communication support. Colonel Harrison pointed to specific qualifications that explained tactical abilities they had witnessed during the forced engagement. Sir, why wasn't this information available during our deployment planning? Chun asked, his tactical mind recognizing how differently he would have employed someone with such extraordinary qualifications if he had known about their existence. The operational security protocols had prevented optimal utilization of critical capabilities. Colonel Harrison leaned back in his chair while explaining classification systems that Chun was only beginning to understand. Sergeant, certain personnel operate under deep cover assignments that require maintaining false military occupation specialties to preserve their effectiveness for specialized missions. Vasquez's communications role was designed to provide access while concealing her actual capabilities. Chun examined training records that documented precision shooting scores exceeding military standards by significant margins. Range qualification with multiple weapon systems. Advanced Tactical Planning Certification, Combat Leadership Instruction. The credentials explained performance that had seemed impossible from someone assigned to support roles. The second file contained mission records from previous deployments where Vasquez had provided similar specialized support without her conventional unit commanders knowing about her actual background. Chun realized their forced rescue wasn't her first extraordinary performance. Just the first time circumstances had forced revelation of her true capabilities. Colonel Harrison pointed to specific entries that documented successful operations where conventional forces had received support from personnel whose actual qualifications remained hidden for security reasons. The military employed specialists who operated undercover assignments that enhanced unit effectiveness while maintaining operational security about their presence. Chun felt professional admiration mixed with tactical regret about missed opportunities to properly utilize extraordinary capabilities that could have enhanced their mission effectiveness throughout their deployment. How many other operations might have benefited from knowing about Vasquez's actual qualifications and specialized training? The third file revealed the strategic reasoning behind cover assignments that placed highly qualified specialists within conventional units where they could provide emergency support when situations exceeded normal operational parameters. Vasquez represented part of a program designed to enhance unit survivability through hidden capabilities. Colonel Harrison explained security protocols that prevented disclosure of specialist capabilities unless tactical situations demanded revelation of their actual qualifications. Today's engagement represented circumstances where operational security became secondary to immediate survival requirements that could only be met through extraordinary individual performance. Chun studied combat records that documented Vasquez's previous successful operations in similar circumstances, providing specialized support that had saved American lives while maintaining cover that preserved her effectiveness for future missions. The tactical pattern was consistent with someone trained specifically for emergency intervention when conventional operations failed. The fourth file contains psychological evaluations that confirmed Vasquez's suitability for deep cover operations requiring extended periods of concealing extraordinary capabilities while performing routine assignments. The mental discipline required for such roles exceeded normal military requirements by significant margins. Colonel Harrison reviewed operational guidelines that govern employment of specialists operating undercover assignments within conventional units. The protocols were designed to balance operational security requirements with tactical effectiveness, revealing capabilities only when circumstances demanded extraordinary intervention. Shin realized that their unit had operated throughout their deployment with backup support that none of them had recognized, providing security and emergency capabilities that could have been employed if tactical situations had required intervention beyond conventional military responses. The safety net had been invisible but real. The final document detailed post-mission procedures for personnel whose cover had been compromised through operational necessity. Vasquez would require reassignment to positions that properly utilized her actual capabilities now that her background had been revealed through circumstances beyond normal security protocols. Colonel Harrison closed the files while emphasizing continued security requirements that govern discussion of classified information. Sergeant, this briefing explains today's events, but doesn't change operational security obligations. Vasquez's background remains classified despite circumstances that forced its partial revelation. Chun felt gratitude, mixed with professional curiosity about how many other specialists might be operating under similar cover assignments throughout military units. The recognition that extraordinary capabilities existed within apparently conventional personnel structure suggested potential that remained hidden for strategic reasons. Colonel Harrison stood to conclude their classified briefing while preparing recommendations for Vasquez's future assignment to positions that would better utilize capabilities that could no longer remain concealed. Today's performance demonstrated qualifications that deserved recognition and proper employment rather than continued cover roles. Chun departed the briefing with complete understanding of Vasquez's extraordinary background and grateful recognition of sacrifice that had saved American lives through personal courage and professional competence that exceeded all normal expectations. The tactical mystery had been resolved, but respect for her capabilities would influence his leadership approach permanently. The classified information explained everything about the forest engagement, while revealing nothing about how many other specialists might be providing similar hidden support throughout military operations worldwide. Chin knew he had witnessed something extraordinary that few conventional commanders ever experienced directly. Chun found Vasquez in the equipment maintenance bay, methodically cleaning the precision rifle she had used with such devastating effectiveness during their forest rescue. Her movements showed the practiced efficiency of someone with extensive experience maintaining weapons systems under field conditions, every action purposeful and professional. "Elena," he said quietly, approaching with a respect that her extraordinary performance had earned through personal sacrifice and remarkable skill. "I know about your background now. Colonel Harrison briefed me on your actual qualifications and training. Everything makes sense about what you accomplished today." Vasquez continued cleaning the rifle with meticulous attention to detail that reflected professional standards for precision weapons maintenance. Her hands moved with practiced confidence across mechanisms that required intimate knowledge of ballistics and weapon systems operation under extreme conditions. "Sergeant, my assignment to this unit was designed to provide specialized support if tactical situations exceeded conventional capabilities. Today represented circumstances that required revealing training that normally remains classified for operational security reasons." Her explanation was matter-of-fact, professional, without drama or self-aggrandizement. Chun studied her with profound admiration for someone who had concealed extraordinary capabilities for months while performing routine duties that significantly underutilized talents that could contribute to the most demanding military operations. "How did you maintain the deception so effectively? Nobody suspected your actual background or qualifications." Vasquez reassembled the rifle with practiced efficiency while explaining operational security protocols that few military personnel ever experienced. Deep cover assignments require psychological discipline to maintain false identities for extended periods. The training includes techniques for concealing capabilities while performing assigned roles effectively and naturally. Jackson entered the maintenance bay, carrying after-action reports from the tactical engagement that documented capabilities exceeding normal military standards by extraordinary margins. Ma'am, intelligence analysts are calling your performance today a textbook example of precision shooting under impossible conditions. 38 eliminations at extended range while coordinating complex operations. Vasquez accepted the recognition while maintaining professional humility about achievements that had saved American lives through individual excellence under the most demanding circumstances. The mission succeeded because team members supported each other when conditions became critical. Specialized training exists to enhance conventional operations when standard capabilities prove insufficient. Rodriguez appeared in the doorway, his wounded shoulder properly treated and stabilized, but his gratitude toward Vasquez clearly overwhelming his professional composure. Ma'am, you saved my life today along with everyone else. The tactical coordination and marksmanship you demonstrated exceed anything I've witnessed during multiple combat deployments. Vasquez secured the cleaned rifle while acknowledging recognition from teammates whose survival had depended on capabilities they hadn't known existed within their unit structure. Professional soldiers trained to support each other regardless of individual specialties or background qualifications. Today required employing all available capabilities to ensure mission success. Williams entered using crutches, but determined to express appreciation for someone whose extraordinary intervention had prevented casualties that seemed inevitable during their desperate tactical situation. Ma'am, the precision and coordination you provided from that ridge position represent the finest individual military performance I've ever witnessed personally. Chun felt the emotional weight of recognition that his entire team was experiencing as they finally understood the magnitude of what Vasquez had accomplished while operating under cover that concealed capabilities exceeding their collective military experience. Someone had risked everything to save them through skills they hadn't known existed. Martinez arrived with formal commendation paperwork that documented Vasquez's performance for official recognition at command levels that understood the significance of capabilities she had demonstrated. Ma'am, this engagement will be studied at military schools as an example of individual excellence under impossible conditions. Vasquez gathered her equipment while preparing to depart for reassignment that would properly utilize extraordinary capabilities that could no longer remain concealed following their tactical revelation. The cover assignment had been compromised through operational necessity, requiring transition to positions matching her actual qualifications. Chin realized that their tactical relationship was ending as administrative requirements moved Vasquez toward assignments appropriate for someone with her extraordinary background and specialized training. Her hidden presence had provided security throughout their deployment that none of them had recognized until circumstances forced dramatic revelation. Colonel Harrison entered the maintenance bay with official orders that confirmed Vasquez's reassignment to specialized units where her capabilities would be properly employed rather than concealed through cover assignments. Staff Sergeant, your new orders reflect qualifications that today's performance revealed to conventional command structure. Vasquez accepted the orders while maintaining professional demeanor that had characterized her service throughout their deployment despite concealing capabilities that exceeded their unit's collective military experience. The assignment change represents proper utilization of training that circumstances required revealing through operational necessity. Jackson approached with equipment that belonged to Vasquez, his expression mixing gratitude with professional regret about losing someone whose hidden capabilities had enhanced their unit effectiveness throughout their deployment. Ma'am, working with you has been an honor, especially now that we understand your actual background and qualifications. Chun felt profound respect for someone whose sacrifice and professional excellence had saved American lives while demonstrating individual capabilities that would influence his leadership approach permanently. Elena, you represent the finest traditions of military service through personal courage and professional competence that exceeded all expectations. Vasquez shouldered her equipment while preparing to transition from cover assignment to positions that would properly challenge and utilize extraordinary capabilities that tactical circumstances had forced into the open. The mission accomplished what specialized training exists to achieve when conventional operations require enhancement beyond normal military parameters. The maintenance bay fell quiet as teammates recognized they were witnessing the end of an extraordinary deployment that had revealed capabilities and character exceeding anything their collective military experience had prepared them to understand or appreciate fully. Rodriguez struggled to find words adequate for expressing gratitude towards someone whose hidden abilities had prevented casualties that would have devastated their unit and families. "Ma'am, we owe you debts that can never be repaid through normal military recognition or appreciation. You saved lives that were lost without your intervention." Chun watched Vasquez depart for her new assignment with complete understanding that he had witnessed something remarkable that few military commanders ever experienced directly, someone whose extraordinary capabilities had been revealed through circumstances requiring the ultimate demonstration of professional excellence under impossible conditions. 6 months after the forest engagement, Chin received notification that Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez had been promoted to gunnery sergeant and assigned as senior instructor at the military's most advanced sniper school. Her extraordinary performance during their rescue had become required study material for precision shooting courses and tactical coordination training throughout Special Operations Command. The official citation accompanying her Silver Star decoration described capabilities that had saved 5 American lives through individual excellence under impossible conditions. But Chin knew the formal language couldn't capture the transformation his understanding of military potential had undergone through witnessing someone exceed every expectation about human capability and professional dedication. Rodriguez had recovered completely from his shoulder wound and requested assignment to specialized units where personnel with extraordinary capabilities operated under proper recognition rather than concealed cover assignments. His experience being saved by hidden talents had influenced his career path toward positions where individual excellence received appropriate utilization and support. Williams returned to active duty with renewed appreciation for military personnel whose capabilities might exceed their documented qualifications or assigned roles. His experience with long-range precision shooting gave him unique perspective on Vasquez's remarkable performance, and he frequently lectured about recognizing potential that might remain hidden within conventional unit structures. Jackson received orders to advanced leadership schools where his tactical experience during the forest engagement qualified him for positions requiring understanding of individual capabilities that could enhance unit effectiveness beyond normal military parameters. His recognition of hidden talents had demonstrated leadership potential that merited specialized development. Chun found himself promoted to sergeant major with responsibilities for personnel assessment and assignment optimization throughout his command structure. His experience with Vasquez had provided insights into individual potential that influenced evaluation procedures and training assignments for hundreds of military personnel whose capabilities might exceed their apparent qualifications. The tactical lessons from their forest rescue became standard curriculum at military schools where future leaders learned about recognizing and utilizing extraordinary capabilities that might exist within apparently conventional personnel structures. Chin frequently provided guest lectures about leadership challenges when individual potential exceeded all expectations. Martinez earned assignment to specialized reconnaissance units, where his experience coordinating with hidden capabilities during the forest engagement qualified him for operations requiring understanding of personnel whose actual qualifications remained classified for security reasons. His tactical awareness had been enhanced through witnessing extraordinary individual performance. If this story of hidden strength under fire moved you, share your thoughts about your favorite moment, or tell us about someone you know who surprised everyone with their capabilities when it mattered most. The intelligence community studied Vasquez's performance as an example of successful deep cover operations where specialized personnel provided security for conventional units without revealing their actual background or capabilities. Her tactical coordination while maintaining operational security became required training for specialists operating under similar assignments. Chun visited the sniper school where Vasquez now served as senior instructor, observing training that developed capabilities she had demonstrated during their rescue. Her students approached precision shooting with understanding that individual excellence could determine mission success and teammate survival under the most demanding circumstances. Gunnery Sergeant Vasquez greeted Chun with professional respect that acknowledged their shared experience while maintaining focus on training responsibilities that utilized her extraordinary capabilities appropriately. Her classroom instruction emphasized tactical coordination and precision shooting techniques that had saved American lives through individual performance exceeding normal military standards. The training facility displayed tactical maps from their forest engagement alongside precision shooting records that documented capabilities students were expected to develop through dedicated training and professional commitment. Vasquez's performance had become the benchmark for individual excellence under impossible conditions. Chun observed advanced students practicing tactical scenarios based on their rescue, learning coordination techniques that had enabled one person to provide overwatch for an entire unit while engaging overwhelming enemy forces. The tactical principles were being transmitted to future specialists who might face similar circumstances. Vasquez demonstrated precision shooting techniques that had eliminated 38 enemy fighters at extended range while coordinating complex extract operations. Her instruction emphasized mental discipline required for maintaining accuracy under extreme pressure when teammate survival depended on individual performance exceeding all previous standards. The afternoon concluded with Chun and Vasquez reviewing their tactical engagement from professional perspectives enhanced by months of analysis and recognition of capabilities that had been revealed through operational necessity. Their conversation reflected mutual respect between military professionals who had witnessed extraordinary individual performance. Chun departed the sniper school with renewed appreciation for military personnel whose capabilities might exceed documented qualifications or assigned roles. His experience with Vasquez continued influencing leadership decisions and personnel assessments throughout his career, recognizing potential that might remain hidden until tested under extreme conditions. The drive back to his assignment provided time for reflection on tactical lessons that had transformed his understanding of individual capability and team dynamics. Someone had demonstrated abilities that proved assumptions about military potential could be completely wrong when extraordinary circumstances demanded performance exceeding all expectations. Years later, Chun would describe their forest rescue as the definitive example of hidden strength revealed under impossible pressure, when someone had risked everything to save teammates through capabilities nobody knew existed within their unit structure. The tactical engagement had become legend among military professionals who understood individual excellence. The forest where their rescue had occurred remained marked on tactical maps as the site where extraordinary individual performance had saved American lives through precision shooting and tactical coordination that exceeded normal military standards. Future generations of military personnel would study the engagement as an example of capability exceeding all expectations. Rodriguez, Williams, Jackson, and Martinez maintained contact with Chun and Vasquez throughout their continuing military careers, their shared experience creating bonds that transcended normal unit assignments. They had witnessed something extraordinary that few military personnel ever experienced directly, someone whose hidden capabilities had determined their survival. The tactical lessons from their engagement continued influencing military training and personnel assessment procedures, recognizing that extraordinary capabilities might exist within apparently conventional unit structures. Chen's experience with Vasquez had provided insights that enhanced military effectiveness through better recognition and utilization of individual potential that might otherwise remain hidden until circumstances demanded revelation through performance exceeding all previous standards and expectations.